already recording, and then we'll be just chop off the beginning and the ending. And yeah, if you will have, I don't think you will have any other technical problems, because everything works right. But just in case, anything happens, you can write to me on this private chat section on the right. You can click. But if I will hear that something's not right, I'll try to take a look and maybe assist you somehow. But I want to have it as one take. Because
sure, me too.
Yeah, I don't think you don't want to spend more time on that. And what else? Yeah, if you have I was about to say something also, one more important thing, and I forgot about what I was going to say.
I just need to shut a couple of doors, and I've put my phone in silent mode, so I hope maybe that's what you wanted to tell me. So just give me 1 second, I'll be back, okay?
Yeah. All right. Yeah, just when you will be finished, it's just try to keep. Okay, I remember. Just try to keep it as close to 20 minutes as possible. Maybe if you have really interesting thought, like 1-2 minutes over, we can do it.
It'll probably be less than 20 minutes. I'm a TEDx organizer, and I try to keep things shorter, so it'll be comfortably under 20. But we'll see. But, okay.
Yeah, and if you just talk as if you were already at the event, as if people were watching you, because basically we are at the event, just another time frame.
Sure.
So yeah, just if there are any mistakes, just don't stress out. Always right, and just joke about it and stuff. Okay, so I wish you a good keynote, and I'll be just in the background checking if everything's all right. Yeah, so I'm disappearing, so count to 5 now.
Imagine you always wanted to be an entrepreneur, and by overcoming tremendous challenges with hard work, determination, the ability to handle rejection after rejection, you managed to get generously funded with enough money for you and your team to work full-time for 18 months on decent salaries. How do you feel? You've made it into the exclusive world of funded startups. You post on LinkedIn and Twitter, and then message your family and friends with happy, smiley faces. You forward the email to the team with the good news and start looking for a PR agency to tell them about your success to a wider audience. Because after all, a funded startup needs buzz and PR. It's time to party. If you feel this way, or you feel that might be you, I'm here to tell you that not only this is wrong, but this is a bad mindset. And I want to share details of mistakes that funded startups often make and suggest better approaches. But before I tell you that, let me explain to you why I was invested to speak. I've started or early stage invested in 35 businesses. 19 of them failed, no longer exist. 3 exited, and I'm still involved with 12. The businesses I'm involved in employ about 650 people, mainly in the United States, the United Kingdom, and Poland, and this year should do about $100 million in revenue. I really know about mistakes. I could almost say I'm an expert. And the mistakes I made were due to learning by doing. And there are things that are wrong with learning by doing. They're painful, they're expensive, they're dangerous, and it's wrong. The areas in which funded startup leaders make mistakes are almost unlimited. I'm going to focus on leadership, culture, organization, and self-awareness, or rather the lack of those in each of those areas. But before I share examples of what has gone wrong in startup after funding, let me explain what was wrong with the reaction to the scenario I gave above, where you've just been funded. I hope it's obvious. More important than family and friends, more important even than clients, are you and your team. You've got some good news to share, and the way in which they find out and you tell them is a powerful signal of how much you value them. If your core team members find out from LinkedIn that you've got funding, they will rightly think that you care more about showing off to random strangers than you care about them. The second thing is that while it is wrong, is that when you get your first funding, it's an important milestone, but it's not success in its own right. So what you should do when you get funding is this: figure out in your team who matters and what the most important things they can do for the company. Write them down as an outline job description, then call your team, telling them the good news and that now things are much more serious. You owe it to the investors and clients to be 200% professional. You want to schedule proper conversations with each of them and to hear about their ideas about what they can do to create the most value with their own 100-day plan. You need to agree action plans, timelines, and a contract, as from now on, they're going to be on a salary the moment they quit their full-time job. Tell them that you want to tell other core team members first, so they shouldn't post on social media until you've agreed a communication plan, and that you want to tell other team members and clients before anyone finds out on LinkedIn. You must avoid the big danger that some core team members may feel that now you've got money, the pressure is off. It isn't. The pressure is on. A feeling that we've made it, we've arrived, should be avoided like the plague. You haven't arrived. The journey is just beginning. Because while it's good news and you and the team need money to survive, it's a necessary step on the road to success, not success in its own right. So you've got money and a team. You need to work out how you're going to run the business. So let's talk about culture. It's great fun spending money as if you're rich, but you mustn't do it. Treat the money like it's off, like it's your own. An office that is cool to work in, that has Nintendo bean bags and an ultra cool coffee machine, is not how you're going to achieve success. How you spend your time always matters, but what particularly matters is at the start. If your team sees you wandering off around fancy furniture shops or even IKEA, they're going to quickly figure out that you prefer spending time on things like that than product or clients. Do things fast, have a sense of urgency. I often say, I'm 55 years old, I'm going to be dead soon. Let's get this meeting done in 15 minutes, not 30. And don't make excuses. Do things professionally from the very first day. Have honest communication. Good companies always have ways of making sure that they know, everyone in the company knows what's going on, whether it's an intranet, a monthly newsletter, or a webinar with the CEO. You need to bake it into the culture from the day you start. Making things transparent and honest, well organized and efficient is just so important. And make sure you're a learning organization. Anytime anything's go wrong, and they will go wrong, make sure you learn from them. Clarity of decision making. You need to learn how to take decisions and have a process. And it's very simple. Ask the 4 question. What's the problem? What are the causes of the problem? What are the possible solutions? Which one is best? And then do it. Because the new hires in your organizations are going to figure out that this is the way you do things and learn from it. So that's about the culture. What about the processes? Being a cool company is not enough. You can't emphasize that enough. Talented people don't like working in chaotic, disorganized companies. It's not enough to have freshly squeezed orange juice every day if no one's going to tell you what you're meant to do and give you feedback on whether you're happy with their work or not. Having well-defined processes is a must. Funded startups often think that it's bureaucracy and control freakery to have processes, but you should be aiming towards having the way we do things designed for everything you do more than once, so that as a leader, you work on the business, not in the business. Everything from hiring, generating sales leads, so even to the way you buy tickets or computers, to the way you take decisions. It's very simple. Everyone should have long-term goals defined and a daily task list. After each meeting, there needs to be a who does what by when, which has to be communicated. It's no accident that the A in MBA stands for administration. You need to be good at running your business. Leadership and management is something that I didn't even think about when I started my first businesses. And a leader is someone who is able to get a group of people to work willingly towards a common purpose, which means you have to define what your purpose is. I didn't even know what leadership was when I went into my first businesses, and I don't have time to go into all the detail of it, but it's a skill that can be learned, and it's a skill that you must learn. And the key things you need are courage and willpower, common sense, flexibility, knowledge, care for your staff, integrity. But these are things you can look up and learn. I don't want to spend too much time on it now. And you should also learn about management. It's very simple. You need to have a to-do list managing yourself. You need to know what you're going to do by when. You need to have weekly one-on-ones with your reports. You need to define expectations, get good at giving feedback about what's good and what's need improvement, be ready to have difficult conversations and provide support. And you need to make sure a golden rule that after a thing is not done until it's communicated that it's done. I want to talk about self-awareness. A lot of entrepreneurs are highly competitive and highly ambitious. And being a competitive person isn't the same as being a good leader. Many of you may be aware of Gary Vaynerchuk, who puts out a torrent of content onto all kinds of social media about what it means to be an entrepreneur. And he emphasizes how important self-awareness is. Ambitious, driven people quite often have never had therapy or thought about what it means to be successful. I certainly didn't. And as you take on the enormous challenges of running a successful organization, you're going to learn a lot about yourself. So you need to learn to park your ego. You need to learn about shining the spotlight onto your team and to the organization, and make sure you've got trusted friends outside the organization who know you well enough to give you tough feedback when you need it. And you need to bear in mind what I would call the entrepreneurial mindset as well. The entrepreneurial mindset is, sorry, got the wrong slide there, is about ambition, curiosity, flexibility, integrity, and business sense. And so you've got to keep those things alive. You mustn't let the fact you've got money switch that off. And because that slide gives a couple of resources which are extremely useful if you want to go into the detail of leadership and management. It's about developing processes and tremendously valuable resources that will have literally saved me millions and millions and millions of dollars if I'd known about it at the start of my entrepreneurial journey. So if you want to go into more detail about how to lead things and how to run things, start there. And I want to share a story with you, which I think is one that is actually the most important question in business, the most important question in life. And it goes back to a situation where one of my children came home from a student workshop that he'd been trying to lead, running a volunteer team. And he had that look on his face, and he said to me, "I've got a question." I said, "What's the question?" He said, "Well, how do you make sure everyone does their job properly and does their job really well?" And I thought it was amazing that, having been to some of the best universities in the world, some of the best high schools, having started multiple organizations, that this question is one that you always have to focus on in your startup, in your funded startup, and in your life. And believe me, it isn't easy. And so to close, I think that first thing to summarize is that you need to make sure that you keep your culture intact before you get funded, when you get funded, and after you get funded. It's not the end of your journey, it's the beginning of your journey. You need to make sure that you have no excuses for doing things in a sloppy way. Once we get big, we're going to get professional. You set the culture of your organization in the early days. You need to make sure you're excellent at communications, you're excellent at doing things transparently, honestly, and well. And if you've not thought much about your leadership style, then now's the time to understand that people will be looking up to you, not just within the organization, but externally. And of course, the entrepreneurial mindset, which I mentioned already, has to remain in all your mind. And last but not least, remember that you as a CEO should be the voice of your clients, no matter what your organization does, what type of product or service you provide or sell. You as a CEO do have a boss, and your boss is your clients. And to close, I would just wish you tremendous success in your business careers, whether or not you're a funded startup. Thank you very much.
So you are done, right?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, we'll just chop the ending, and yeah, thanks so much. I think it was really good. Yeah. So yeah, I can send you the link when I have it to your recording if you want to see it.
Sure. And well, thank you very much, Alina. And as far as the actual, I haven't got that much information about the logistics of the event. Are you involved in that at all in terms of where I'm staying in Wrocław? And I'm particularly, there's a guy called Peter Cowley who's coming, and I don't know whether, last time I spoke to him, I stayed in his house a couple of, like a week or so ago, and he hadn't heard either. Do you know what the details are going to be for the event? Because it's quite soon. It's in 2 weeks.
Do you have a contact to Mike Chaffee?
I know him, but I mean, I've spoken to him.
I don't know who invited you to our event.
I think it was Mike. It was the CEO.
Yeah, so I think if you can reach out to him and ask him, because I'm not sure that I have any details about you.
Okay. So we'll do it like that. And if you are you in Wrocław? Will you be around during the event? Okay. So maybe we'll meet face to face. Despite this online world, it's quite nice to have real in real life meetings. Okay. Well, thank you for your support. If you've got any questions, do come back to me. But apart from that, maybe I'll see you in Wrocław.
Yeah. See you there.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.